If you would like to have a successful organization, you need to discover how to become a better leader. And today we have Beate, and she's going to tell us all about how you too can become a leader. And she has so many years of experience in this field, helping organizations to transform and helping organizations to obtain better results and to make the most of every employee in order to have higher productivity and have truly successful businesses. So, Beate, please tell us, what does it take to become a good leader?
So, Lily, I'm really happy that you asked this question today. We are confronted with crisis mode in the meantime. So it's really important to take care that we have the right leaders in place. And whilst doing my business, I have been working as a human resources executive and a business coach. And in my engagement so far, for instance, as general manager of a company or leader of a division or leading a big organization through the restructuring or changing topics. So I experienced that we really have a lack of real leaders, let me say. We do have a lot of managers, but well, I think the time now is ready to go for this kind of leadership skills, which really makes a difference and support the company and the employees involved going forward and having also in the future this kind of success.
Thank you. So, what is the difference between a leader and a manager, and how can we become one?
Yeah, I said we do have a lot of managers. We know everybody is managing something. Yeah, we do have managers who are reliable for accounting, for supply chain, for purchasing department, and so on. So if they focus on special key topics which they have deliver every day, and they have the employees who do this kind of support, that at the end of the day, the tasks are done and everybody has a smooth and a relaxing start next day, next week, in the next quarter, so to say.
Okay,
so, but a real leader has another impact, has the idea and the vision how to bring a company forward and how to do this kind of pioneership to safeguard the future. And this makes a difference because this leader has to work with the employees in an absolute other way. This leader will motivate people. They will be empowered to bring in ideas, to make failures, to make mistakes, because I mean, otherwise the company will not grow forward. Yeah, so they stuck otherwise in the middle, and this kind of leadership we have to train because so far it was not so necessary.
Thank you. So, what can I do specifically to become a leader? And I'm looking for something very practical that anyone can use, including me.
Well, sure, a leader must have the basics, must have as a strategic capacity, must have experience in his field. But what really makes a difference, I found out, is having some additional qualities. And I want to speak a little bit about courage, resilience, and no wonder, joy. Yeah, because a leader needs courage to go forward in uncertain times, to have this kind of vision, to share also the emotions of him with the employees, to share this uncertainty, but to have always positive ideas to overcome them and to help the employees to do the same. Yeah. So he or she is the lighthouse in the darkness, so to say. Yeah. And this leader will have this inner drive to help the employees to do the next development steps in their own career. So it's a development of personality. Yeah. So they have at the end, they have this kind of intrinsic motivation, and they will follow. Yeah. And well, when it comes to resilience, I mean, we know we do have these problems that we try one or the other approach, and then we stuck in the middle. So he has to cope with frustration, with fear also, yeah, and also out of his inner motivation and his being sure that he can overcome everything. At the end, he will succeed. So he will fight for the success. He will do this kind of interactions with the employees, and he or she also takes care of him or herself, because otherwise, if you can't lead yourself, you cannot lead others. Yeah. And lastly, joy is really a powerful tool for leaders. Yeah. Sometimes it's mistaken for and seen as a lack of I would say seriousness even. Yeah. But creating a joyful workplace and leading people to success, let them make mistakes, and celebrate successes is boosting morale, is in my opinion also increasing cooperation, and this helps in these times of crisis, and this is in my opinion what really makes a difference.
Thank you so much. Now, when I speak to you, it is obvious to me, and I really think that it's obvious to everyone just how committed and dedicated you are, and how much love you have for people, and how much you are like so driven and like so you can say involved in the companies that you work for. Like you really deeply care about people. I can see that about you. And what I'm curious to see is how can you give me an example, like a practical example of courage, resilience, and joy in practice? So how would that look like? Let's say if, I don't know, I think companies come across obstacles all the time. And sometimes it's, I don't know, it's the fact that they have to deal with new things, maybe AI, maybe, I don't know, some other things they have to deal with, maybe bigger competition. You know, there's a lot of different obstacles that companies have to deal with. So I'm curious, give me an example of how can me as a leader, how can I get courage and resilience and joy? So how would that look like? Would it look like something like, let's say, when I'm at work, for example, I try to make jokes. Is that what it's about? To make jokes with your employees, and that, let's say, if there's something funny, to kind of play on it so that people feel relaxed in order to work? And in terms of courage, what does that look like? Does it look like in a way that, let's say, if you have a big problem in your business, you kind of get together with your employees and you look for solutions? Is that what it looks like? So give us your idea of what it looks like for me as a leader to have courage, resilience, and joy, but a very practical one that anyone can use.
So in the first step, to be honest, it's necessary that the core management of a company asks for this kind of leadership, you know? So the organization must be prepared, yeah? And if this is the case, organizations offer training programs for future leaders or also for leaders, because we learn our whole life. Yeah. So you learn being in workshops, or they get when they have a new task, a new challenge, as I get some external support, like an external business coach. Yeah. And so they work with case studies. Yeah. Not theoretical one, out of practice. Yeah. So I do have, for instance, I do have to do a bigger restructuring and take another person with this kind of competence in, and whilst working together, this new leader is step by step able to reflect in another way. Yeah. To integrate all this kind of other attitudes and to incorporate it, and then step by step he will or she will learn to act without fear, because fear stops everything. Yeah. And this is what I really would recommend, that also accepting mistakes making. Yeah. Otherwise the company will not flourish. Yeah. I mean, in my experience, I saw companies in which managers didn't talk about their own mistake. Yeah, it's not just making a joke, but to say, "I am sorry, I made this decision, and at this time it was the right one. But now I see that we have to change something. Yeah, to be honest, and this makes a difference. Not just make a joke. I mean." It can be that you do a joke in the morning, or when you have coffee together. Yes, yes. By the way, this also means that people have to come to the office and not only sitting in the home office. Yeah. So this kind of new work we have to learn again after Corona. But the leader must lose the fear, must train and learn self-confidence, and step by step, if he or she feels that also a negative approach has no negative influence in his or her career, but is just to learn, to reflect, to learn, to go ahead with, then this kind of organization and the leaders will increase their performance. Yeah, and it really, this is not which comes overnight. The organization must be prepared. Also, the core management, the real executive management, must accept this approach, and then the new leaders and the very experienced leaders can also do the next step in the development. Yeah, and with my motivation, I am really prepared to support this kind of leaders, this kind of companies, which said, okay, now we have to do the next step in our development. Yeah, and I am sure that every company has to reflect where is the status quo, where do we have to go, where are the challenges, where are the obstacles. Otherwise, they will not survive during the next 3 to 5 years.
Okay, thank you so much. And what would it look like to actually create this environment of joy at work? What does that actually look like?
Well, you celebrate successes after finished a project, for instance. Yeah. The leader is asking for the next project, and by the way, always asking the same people who can rely on. Yeah, but celebrate first. Talk about what was the learning, what can we do next, and then say in the whole group, okay, and who is prepared to do the next project with all the help, with the experience we made in the other project or in another task. Who wants to do this kind of project which comes up now? Yeah, so to integrate people in decisions, yeah, to help them to overcome this fear. Yes, to also to set up some development programs. Yeah, and this is what a leader can do to bring joy on the workplace. What you only can ask for and invite people is to bring in their whole creativity and their inner drive on the job. We all know that people are very creative during the weekends, they are doing things sometimes you would not imagine. And we want to have this kind of creativity, innovation in the company. And this has a lot of to do also with communication. So from the top, it must be clear what's expected. What does this mean where we do have to go in any workplace? Yeah. What does this mean for the leaders? What does this mean for the workers and the employees? In detail, a lot of open communication is necessary. Yeah. And whilst doing so, you get the trust from the people you need.
Thank you.
And you should not expect that everybody wants to follow and can follow. Yeah. But I would hope and expect that most of the employees, yeah, I am a positive thinker. And so I expect that employees, if they really can rely on that what is said, they will follow and they will do their very best.
Thank you. And how important is it to keep your word as a leader?
It's very important. Yeah. For me, I have to say, I want to rely on the messages I receive. And well, sometimes you have a frustrating moment because it turned out as it was a lie. But what must stay is that you can rely on your boss, rely on the strategy. And if I made a mistake and I have to say I cannot deliver what I promised, yeah, then I have to be, and I am so open and say, I'm very sorry. I have to change my mind. Something went wrong. I'm very sorry. And please, what can we do about it? What can we do together? Yeah. And with this openness, in my opinion, you will get this kind of turnaround.
Thank you. I find that keeping your word is so important. And I'm talking about keeping your word in terms of your punctuality, in terms of, doing deadlines on time and all these different things. And yes, sometimes you cannot deliver. And I think it's important to acknowledge, I was wrong, I'm sorry. And I think not enough people recognize the power of I'm sorry as a leader.
Yeah,
it's really
absolutely.
so important, right? Do you agree there?
Yeah, it's extremely important because otherwise you all the effort you did in the past, you lose this kind of trust. And without trust, you can close your business.
Yeah, the whole thing can be, going to the dumps. If you don't have trust, then you don't keep your word.
Yeah.
So when you don't manage to keep your word because of, different circumstances, acknowledging and saying, I'm sorry, please forgive me.
Yeah.
I think it's so important. And I find that some people can never say I'm sorry because they can never acknowledge that responsibility. They will always try to blame it on you. This thing didn't work, this other thing, it's his fault, it's her fault. And when that happens, I think that is the opposite of being a leader. That is, I don't even know what I would call that. But what I would say is that it's very disappointing, right? To deal with people who are not, leaders that are refusing to accept responsibility. And what I see in you is a powerful leader, a leader that leads by example, a committed leader, a leader that leads with joy, resilience, and courage. And, for those of you wanting to follow and connect with Beate, please check the links below this video. And in some social media, I'll be able to also tag Beate. So please follow her, connect with her, and be sure to follow her work. And we'll see you soon.
Thank you, Lily. Thank you so much.